Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of West Ham Fan TV's On The Social. This is a show where you take control and send in questions for me to answer. Before we get on, as always, this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app. The OneFootball app is the easiest way to keep up to date with all the latest scores, stats, transfer rumours and everything you need from a football app. So download the app in the description below. Right, before I start, I just want to say apologies that I haven't uploaded the show in a few weeks. Well, I think it's about 6 or 7 weeks now. Just been mental since the season ended and that. So going to crack on with the videos. You're going to be seeing a lot more of me over the next few weeks and these shows will be more regular. Plus I've got some more stuff coming up as well, including interviews and things like that. So look, let's get straight into it. Kicking off with, let's start with Twitter today. Right, at @Waz_bets. Why does the board seem to sell players for what is well under what they are valued, but then pay well over to get a player of similar quality? Surely Perez is worth more than 2 million and it would cost more to replace him even with a similar quality player. Yeah, I can understand what you're saying now. Totally agree. I think Perez was a bit harshly treated last season. I thought he done well when he played. 2 million does seem cheap for a Premier League striker. But look, I trust Pellegrini. If Pellegrini didn't want him, didn't fancy him for next season, then we've got to sell him. If that's the best deal we could get at the moment, I mean, what's the maximum you was probably going to get for Perez anyway? 5 million, maybe 6, if we held out. But look, I think the sooner we get players out the door, the quicker we can get some in. So, as I said, I trust Pellegrini on that one. Right, at WHFTV, what are your hopes for next season? Top 10 finish or lower with a proper cup run? Yeah, look, you want to be a proven top team Premier League team all the time. But as for a cup run, if you offer me 11th place now and win the FA Cup, I think every West Ham fan will rip your hand off for that. But we need to be progressing on from last season. We finished 10th. So we need to be trying to pushing for that top 8. But look, a decent cup run. This club we won a cup. Next year's our anniversary, 40 years since our last major trophy. 40 years for a club like West Ham. It's ridiculous. And it's tougher nowadays with the big teams spending a lot of money. But let's, fingers crossed we can get on a good cup run next season. Right, at GH90WHU. With the fixtures out next week, who do you want first? For once, it will be nice to be a home first game. At home first game, sorry. Yeah, definitely. Definitely want to be at home. I know everyone says, oh, I'd love to play one of the newly promoted teams, but that don't always work out. You know, newly promoted teams come up and usually do well in the opening day. So I'd love a home game. Yeah, I want to avoid one of the big boys. I mean, the last few seasons we've had Arsenal, Liverpool, United, Chelsea, Tottenham. So we're probably due Man City. So it wouldn't surprise me if that come out. But as long as we're at home, it'd be nice to start at home. Or if we're going to play away, let it be a London derby. Right. A couple of few Facebook ones here. Colin O'Toole. With no Arnie in the kit launch campaign, do you reckon he's leaving or just a matter of time? It's a funny one with Arnie because he released a statement today. I'll quickly read it out to you. This was Arnie's statement. Nobody called me. My brother, who is my manager, did not call me either. The newspapers like to put my name in the mouth when it comes to transfers. Maybe I'm on a list, but there is nothing concrete and I have a contract with West Ham. Of course, I'm attracted to Champions League, no matter where, but that's what every footballer will say. I'm happy in the Premier League. My tendency is not to call my brother and say, please get me out of West Ham right now. Look, you can read that in loads of ways. The way I read that is that he's basically putting his name out there for Champions League teams to come in and bid, and then he's happy to leave the club. Look, the situation with Arnie was terrible in January. It disrupted the squad. If Arnie wants to leave, then let him go. Get money for him. Get 25, 30 million, whatever you can get for him, and let him go. Let him piss off. Because we don't really want this dragging on all summer. If he really wanted to stay at West Ham and he was happy, he would have turned around and just said, I'm happy at West Ham, no interest in going to another club. So, but you can read that many other ways, you know. I understand players want to play at the top level. But yeah, as for him not being in the kit launch, I think that's just, maybe he wasn't available at the time. I don't know. Maybe he'd already gone on holiday. I don't know. Maybe he's not the poster boy no more. Maybe he might be going. It's going to be an interesting one with that one. Right, Ali Shah. I know a lot of fans are starting to ask questions about why we haven't signed anyone apart from the keepers, but a lot of our targets are still on holiday. What are your thoughts on those we are linked with? Yeah, it's a difficult time at the beginning of the transfer window. As you said, a lot of players are still on holiday. A lot of our players that we want to get rid of are still on holiday. So, as looking at the players, I mean, I try not to take no notice of the transfer windows in the early days, because we're linked with every man plus his dog. You know, we started off with Maxi Gomez, then Andre Gomez, I've seen Mitrovic, Rondon, Shelby, Isaac Hayden, Aaron Moy, Daniel Sturridge. There's so many, and we're probably going to be linked with about another 30 more in the next few weeks. So at the moment, I'm just trying to keep my head down and not really take much into the rumours until they're holding the shirts and signed, just like the two goalkeepers last week. Right, Cliff Schaefer. With the lower tiers of some stands supposedly being closer to the pitch by more than 4 metres according to WHU and LS185, do you think this will improve the atmosphere and the general mood around the club, or are we in for another year of comments about a soulless bowl, etc.? Yeah, I mean, when they come out with the plans, I think it was in February time. I don't think that's going to be in place for next season, but they was talking about squaring off the stands behind the goal, which, look, it's going to make, of course, it's going to make it feel a lot closer to the pitch for the people behind the stands, not for us in the East and West stands, because they're not going to square them off. But as for a soulless bowl, and look, whatever happens on the pitch generates atmosphere. If we're playing well, we're flying in with tackles, you know, we're beating teams at home, and you know, it's going to be a better place. But at the moment, it's down to the fans as well. You know, you get the games where everyone's up for it, and then you'll go 2 or 3 games where we play the Burnleys, the Wolves, and the Bournemouths and teams like that, and you don't get up for it. You know, you see some grounds around the world, and every game, it don't matter who they play, the atmosphere is the same, and it creates a buzz. So it's down to the fans mainly, but as I said, what goes on the pitch affects how we feel as fans. Right, Dan Smith. If we have another bad start to the season, can you see our manager getting sacked straight away, or do you think we'll let him carry on the season? Yeah, I mean, if we started off and we didn't win in our first 10, 15 games, then yeah, you've got to obviously look at the manager. But if we, you know, last season we started off 4 bad defeats in a row. We didn't end the season that bad. We finished 10th. A few better results in them games towards the end of the season. You know, we could have finished as high as 7th, but we chucked that away. I'm not going to judge Pellegrini straight away, but obviously if you don't win in the first, as I said, 10, 15 games, and you're not won, then you got to, obviously you can't sack all the players, so the manager's the first port of call. Right, Wayne Banner. With all the strikers being either sold, scrapped, or just shit, who are we looking to bring in? Also, we need to strengthen the defence, being as our goal difference was awful last season. And any news on that, or do we keep buying midfielders as always? Yeah, with the striker situation, obviously Andy Carroll's gone, Perez is gone. It looks like Hernandez is going to leave as well. So we've got to bring in at least 2, maybe 3 strikers in this window, because Arnautovic, once again, you don't know what's going to happen with him. So as for leaking goals, yeah, I agree. We had this discussion on post-match review, I think it was, about leaking goals. And obviously Fabianski, Hammer of the Year last year, most saves in the Premier League or across Europe, I think it was. Obviously the back 4, I think when we get a settled back 4, Balbuena and Diop are solid. Creswell, on his game, he's a good defender. Ryan Fredericks as well, just coming into it. I think it also comes down to midfielders that track back to help the back 4, stopping that ball coming through and breaking up the play. So it also comes down to midfield. So we've obviously got to strengthen quite a bit all over the squad, but I don't think we have to. I think the defence just needs maybe a little tweak. You know, I think he's going to stick with Creswell and Masuaku, which I'm a bit disappointed with. If I'm honest, I'd rather see bring another left back in. Zabaletta's obviously staying. For me, again, I'd have brought another right back in to challenge Fredericks. I don't think Zabaletta's going to be up to it as much next season. I think that proved in the last few performances from him at the end of this last season. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a busy transfer window, Wayne. So, we're all going to keep our eyes on it. Right. James Fever. When are we looking? Where are we looking to finish next season? Is top 8 finish a must with the team we have at this time? I think, look, we finished 10th last season with a few injuries and a bad start to the season. So I think, look, a fully fit West Ham squad as it is now is a top 10 team. Whether it's a top 8 team, I think with a few good additions, it can be. But next season, we really need to try to sort of break into that top 8 push for Europe, because I can't see the more regular you get into Europe, the better players you attract. That's a fact. The more money you earn, the more money you can spend. So we need to be trying to push for that top 8 and definitely try to improve on that top 10 finish last season. Right, what does it mean for West Ham United if Pellegrini doesn't at least try to land a 30 million plus player? I see on an article today that Pellegrini, with looking to sell players, he's looking to raise about 70 million to spend in this window. We spent 100 million last year and we got a few decent signings in. Not many worked out, a few injuries, but players like Wilshere and Yarmolenko, Sanchez, you know, they are due back. So, yeah, of course, we all want to. Every club wants to see their club spend big, and you know, I'm not saying we're in the brackets of like Man City and Liverpool and Man United, Chelsea, but from 6 and below, £30 million for a player is a lot of money for some clubs, especially us. So, yeah, you want to see that big name striker come in, loads of money spent on him, and he scores goals. It don't always work out, but yeah, I'd love to see us obviously at least attempt, not with these silly bids. Right, Aaron Stewart. Ryan, I know it's early in the transfer window, but looking at the squad as we are now, I think we need a powerful, strong central midfielder and 2 strikers, one up-and-coming striker and a proven striker before we let any other players leave. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, look, we've been linked with this French player today, Alexis Claude Maurice, I think he is. I think his name is. 21 years old. You know, 14 goals, 35 appearances for his club last year. A lot of big European teams after him. Rumours are that we bid 10 million for him. Whether that's going to be enough, I don't know. As for a proven striker, yeah, you know, we've been linked with players like Rondon, who is a proven Premier League striker. Maxi Gomez, not a proven Premier League striker, but would be a good option. Obviously, Mitrovic has been mentioned. Daniel Sturridge as well, very injury. You know, he's got a lot of injuries, so it's going to be a risk, you know, but I think you're right. I definitely think we need someone in midfield. Who that's going to be, I don't know. You know, we've been linked with so many players. I know he was linked with Gomez, who was on loan at Everton, who I think would be ideal, but I think he's come out and said Everton's his ideal destination, which is fair enough. You can't blame a player for that. If he thinks the project's better at Everton, then all you can do is hold your hands up and say, fair play, he's chose Everton for them reasons. But yeah, look, as I've said in all previous questions, it's going to be a busy few weeks, busy couple of months left of the transfer window. So I think we're going to be linked with every name going. Right. Right. Dino Spurs. Do you know what? I see this question and we get a lot of stupid questions, as you can imagine, banter questions from Spurs fans. But I actually see this one and I thought it's actually a decent question. So I'm going to let this one pass. 5 years ago, Sullivan and Gold said there's a plan and you would be playing with Europe's elite clubs. Watch this space, they said. How would you think this plan is unfolding? Not very well, mate. I think maybe when they said we'd be playing in Europe in 5 years, I think they banked on us playing Swansea and Cardiff away, and they count Wales as playing in Europe. But no, do you know what? Look, Sullivan and Gold and Brady, they've said a lot over the last few years. Look, I've got nothing wrong with them having ambition. 5 years ago, they said, or however long ago it was, right, we're going to be competing in Europe, challenging for the Champions League. You know, there's nothing wrong with ambition, but you've got to back it up. They've only had one major transfer window, and that was last summer when they spent a bit of money. And that was from a bit of pressure from everything, from the fans, from players. So, yeah, you know, it's going to be... It's an interesting time at West Ham. Whether I think they're the board to take us to that next level, which everyone talks about, of course they're not. They're not going to go out and spend 300, 400 million. The only way that's going to happen is if we get a takeover, which is unlikely to happen in the next few years. So, look, they've got a stability in the Premier League. They took us over when we was on our knees, basically. Got us back up into the... You know, we got relegated. We come straight back up. We've stayed in the Premier League. You know, we've had a few seasons battling relegation. Last season, top 10 finish. So if we can improve this season... the big thing with the board, and it always will be, is they're the people that took us from our home, the bowling ground. So then I don't think they'll ever win over the fans. But all they can do is keep giving Pellegrini money, backing him, and hopefully, you know, push us up the table and, you know, you never know, win a trophy. But yeah, I mean, that's it for all the questions this week. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. These ones are just chosen at random. There was a lot of duplicate questions. As you can imagine, it's going to be all transfer questions and things like that. So I try to even it out a bit. But yeah, you know, as always, give me your thoughts on any of the questions. Give me your answers below. Keep subscribing to the channel. As I said at the beginning of the video, I'm back now going to be doing a lot more videos. Dan and Nikki will also be doing videos. Scott as well. We're going to be busy over this summer trying to bring you as much content as we can. As I said, I've got some interviews lined up, not only with ex-players, but with some different people, which will be interesting. So yeah, keep an eye out, keep subscribing, and yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching this week's video. I'm Ryan Archer at West Ham. That's how long I ain't done it for. I forgot what to say. I'm Ryan Archer at West Ham Fan TV. Come on, you Irons.